Tonight's broadcast available in high definition on ESPN HD. The 227th consecutive sellout settling in here in the northwest side of downtown Dallas at the American Airlines Center for the Suns and the Mavericks. And let's check tonight's starting lineups. Beginning with the visitors from the Desert of the Sun. Amari Stoudemire has been terrific of late with Boris Diaw and Sean Marion, the all-star up front. The backcourt of Raja Bell and the two-time reigning MVP, Steve Nash. For the Mavericks, they'll go up front with Eric Dampier, Josh Howard, and Dirk Nowitzki, ninth in the league in scoring. Jason Terry and Devin Harris getting the start in the backcourt tonight. For more on the importance and the meaning of tonight's game, to our sideline reporter, Lisa Salters.
Well, Mike, players for both teams are quick to downplay the significance of tonight's game, but they all have something to say about it. The Suns' Raja Bell said, we've seen this game on our schedule for a long time, and it will be a measuring stick for us to see where we stack up against the team with the best record in the league. And he said the Mavericks have been playing well, but then again, so have we. The Mavericks' Eric Dampier said, this is just another game for us. They may have something to prove, but we do not, because we know we can play with anybody in the league regardless of what happens tonight. But perhaps Mavericks owner Mark Cuban summed it up best and said what players are sometimes reluctant to say. He said in the big picture, this game means absolutely nothing. But he said as far as being a statement game, it absolutely is. Cuban said the team that wins tonight will have that confidence, that swagger, that edge heading into the playoffs where these two teams may match up again. Mike?
And Lisa, it's interesting to see teams playing at this level, 52-10 Dallas, 49-14 Phoenix this late in the season. I alluded to it at the very top of the show. You have to go back to the great Lakers team in '72, taking on the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Milwaukee Bucks. The last time that after 60 games of the season, two teams have a winning percentage as high as the teams that are taking the floor here in downtown Dallas tonight.
For the Dallas Mavericks, this is a must-win game. If you're really good and you're going to win the championship, you have to win these games at home. Pressure on Dirk Nowitzki to deliver big time.
Dallas in green, Phoenix in white. And John, we showed the starting lineups. Devin Harris starts. Greg Buckner's been starting of late for the Mavs, but Harris has seen plenty of starting action.
Played excellent. We're going to see who he matches up with. We talked to Avery Johnson, said he loves his defense, and he'll be playing Steve Nash.
Mavericks with the ball, and Josh Howard, the all-star, gets this one going with a hoop. Again, the Mavericks had won 17 consecutive games before their loss Monday at Golden State to their old coach, Don Nelson, who's beaten them a couple of times this year.
It was just an atrocious performance by the Mavericks, and a beautiful interior pass.
Sean Marion, who seems like he's in the top 25 in every category that the NBA tracks, without running a lot of plays for him. He just produces. You see the Mavs have produced so well here at home. 23 in a row, their overall record, a league best 30-3.
Well, you see the importance of Boris Diaw. He had the assist on that play as Josh Howard fires it up. This guy is a tremendous playmaker, and they've missed him. He's been hurt and not really in great shape throughout this season.
Diaw missed 9 games with back spasms, has returned from the last couple. Here goes Nash being watched by Nowitzki. How many times did we see that in a great playoff series last year? Diaw on the take, puts Phoenix on top by a bucket.
We saw that a lot of Boris Diaw in the playoffs against Dallas last year, averaging around 24 points a game in that series. He was sensational.
Boris Diaw, whose back spasms kept him out for a couple of weeks there. Still feeling a little bit of a twinge back there, but hopefully he'll be able to get it going physically as we move towards the playoffs in the spring.
Boris Diaw, a strong right-hand driver, not a guy that thinks offense. Always one that gets his team involved, but when this guy scores, the Phoenix Suns are absolutely dangerous.
Foul was on Amari Stoudemire. It's his first. It was called by Steve Jaffe, who works the game with Michael Smith and Phil Robinson, and Devin Harris will have one more free throw.
John, I'm going to respectfully disagree on Diaw not thinking offense. He doesn't think his own shot. He's the guy like Steve Nash, who is the facilitator, who makes it all happen for everybody else. And when he's out there to make that extra swing pass, then the finishers, Marion, Stoudemire, Raja Bell, James Jones, then they just have a field day.
Well, if he can get 24 in a 6-game set, I'm going to tell him to shoot the ball.
We reference back to that Western Conference Finals won by Dallas in 6. A bump is called on Devin Harris as He was trying to guard the larger man inside. Now, one injury note for Avery Johnson's team. Devin George, of course, you remember him from the Lakers, the 3 championship rings won there. George not available, had a knee injury, missed a good part of February, came back and played a couple of games, but didn't have the lateral quickness and could be out for a few games. They want to get him healthy for the playoffs.
And that's a big loss. He was playing that big guard. Something's happening defensively for Dallas.
Something just happened at the rim with Stoudemire stealing it and dunking it.
Well, Amari is unbelievable, and the numbers that he's been putting up of late is incredible. But Dallas keeps switching big guys onto Steve Nash, and that will not get it done. Careless turnover again. They had 23 in their last game at Golden State.
The steal by Marion. He's 6th in the league in that column. Stoudemire and 1. Amari Stoudemire, who is one of the great stories in the NBA this season. He really didn't know if he was going to play in training camp early in the season. He's been a difference maker in the last month.
Well, we had him on opening night against the LA Clippers, and we sat here and said, this is not the Amari Stoudemire that we've come to know. He did not look ready. His knee was certainly hurting him, and he has raised his level back to even beyond what he used to play 2 years ago.
John, Amari Stoudemire is the key to the Suns' championship success. You can talk about Steve Nash all you want, but the separation that Stoudemire can create between the other big men in the league is just insurmountable for their rivals.
And you saw that stat go by. Who would have thought that at this point in the season, Stoudemire would be the one playing in all of the Suns' games. This is number 64 tonight. Off the Nowitzki miss. Here are the Suns, who have now scored on all 5 trips. Nope, it's going to go the other way. They're going to go the other way. Offensive foul. Jason Terry was in there under Stoudemire, and that's 2 on Amari.
Mike D'Antoni cannot believe it. You got a big man gracefully running the floor, clearly outside the lane. Never been a big fan of jumping in front of big guys who are running up and down the court.
Said by a former big man.
And then falling down, looking for the ref to bail you out.
Neither are the little guys.
Dirk can't get going. Dampier inside. Gets the rebound. Stoudemire has 2, remember. Still battling for that rebound. Has to be very careful. Nash goes into the many photographers sitting baseline. What a play to keep it alive. And Bell cannot convert.
Phoenix looks terrific. Dallas tentative. Surprisingly so.
Dallas did a great job on the offensive boards. Talked to Alvin Gentry, assistant coach of the Suns, and that was their #1 concern. Don't let Dampier hurt you. Jason Terry knocks down the J. Don't let these guys get second chance opportunities.
Interesting defensive matchups for Mike D'Antoni. He's got Sean Marion guarding Raja Bell and Boris Diaw. Careless turnover, Steve Nash.
And what a behind-the-back dribble by Harris, but it comes over and back as Steve Javie makes the good call. It was booted off the foot of Terry and back across the midcourt line. So now with a break and Stoudemire's 2 fouls, he'll go to the bench. In Stoudemire's 2 fouls, he'll go to the bench. And Mike D'Antoni will bring in Kurt Thomas, who missed a good part of January and early February with his injury, but now coming back, a very important part of this team after the elbow injury suffered January 14th.
And in talking to Kurt, who started his NBA career here after playing his college basketball years just 30 miles across the Texas Plains to TCU in Fort Worth, he took that sleeve off of the left elbow. He's not shooting the ball well with that sleeve on. So the last game against Houston Monday night, that's when he took it off, and he really expects to start picking his game up.
Dampier clears them out in the front row, threw it away. That's 3 early Dallas turnovers, and Avery Johnson displeased with that. This Dallas team takes care of the ball very well. Only 14 turnovers a game, 3rd in the league. Nash sees his buddy Nowitzki, backs it out. Bell stumbles, caused by a Devin Harris bump, and that's 2 on the Mavericks guard. And Jason Terry and Josh Howard get in his way before he picks up a tee from Steve Javie. And Jerry Stackhouse comes off the bench.
Stackhouse, one of just a couple people who are even in the running for 6th man of the year last year. This year, Mike Miller won it a year ago. Stackhouse, very deserving last year, but this year, apparently a runaway for Leandro Barbosa of the Phoenix Suns.
Nash goes around Terry and all the way. The pick and roll, how you try to stop it, how Phoenix executes it, always a key when you play the Suns, and Nash does it as well as anyone. Nowitzki 0 for 2 in the early going. Goes to the hoop. Trying to draw the foul, but the push is called instead by Phil Robinson.
Avery Johnson told us before the game that he's going to change up with 5 different looks on the defending the pick and roll. The big man, Dirk Nowitzki, just does not go there. Inexplicable defense. Tries to get it back. Dirk does on the offensive end. And instead, the 3rd best free throw shooter in the NBA this season, Dirk Nowitzki, at the line for 2.
There you see Dirk's numbers. John Barry, what's impressed you about Nowitzki's game this year? After all, he was 3rd in the MVP voting the last 2 seasons.
A lot less three-point attempts. A lot more free throw attempts. And when you can shoot 90%, get him in the paint. And that's what Avery Johnson's done. He used to launch threes time and time again. He's shooting 42%. So he's not a bad shot for him, but he's made a concentrated effort to get in the paint and get some more free throws.
Dallas Mavericks, the #1 free throw shooting team in the NBA. They win all their close games. They're the only team that employs a full-time assistant coach as a free throw coach.
Sean Marion knocks down the 3, and the Phoenix lead is 14-8. Good shooting start for the Suns from the field. They're 6 of 9. And Avery Johnson, who loves to hang his hat on defense, will call a timeout here. We'll talk about the recipe for success, and it's been applied both in Phoenix and Dallas, that has these teams with a combined 101 wins, but just 24 losses this season. Okay, Fred's with Jamal Mashburn in the studio. The Knicks are losing as well, so Pacers might hang on to the 8th spot tonight in the East. Here in the West, the top 2 teams, Phoenix 5-6. So what do you need to be this good? How about a superstar and MVP candidate? Nash and Nowitzki, each there for each team. The supporting role guys are very good. Amari Stoudemire and Jason Terry. Intangibles, guys who fill up the stat sheet. Sean Marion, Josh Howard. And the speedsters, Barbosa and Harris, whether starters or off the bench. They can finish games. And the X-Factor guys, when Bell and Diaw play well, or when Stack and Dampier play well, these teams win basketball games, and they become very tough for opponents to match up. And that's why we've seen these 2 teams beat the playoffs the last couple of years. Diaw will draw his 2nd personal foul as he hit Dirk Nowitzki. John, I think one other thing that these teams have in common, their head coaches are fiery guys. They are energy guys. They played with that fire. Avery with many teams, including the Spurs for a title, and Mike D'Antoni, a star in Europe, playing in Italy. They bring that passion and push the buttons in this marathon of the season at the right time with their team.
But like Dirk and Steve in the battle for the MVP race, and D'Antoni and Avery Johnson are totally different coaches. D'Antoni, more laid back. He's got the driver on the court in Steve Nash, who brings such a level of professionalism that D'Antoni doesn't have to get on the guys or ride anybody. Avery Johnson, on the other hand, this is a reclamation project for so many of these players on this current Maverick roster. He has to be the enforcer, the motivator.
The rare missed free throw for Dirk. Raja Bell comes off the screen and knocks it down. John, Phoenix, a good shooting start, 7 of 10 here tonight.
You know what surprised me is the start of Devin Harris. I would have thought that Avery might have waited until Leandro Barbosa, who's now in there, would come in to match up with him. Now Stackhouse is going to have to try to stick with Leandro Barbosa, who's been on fire of late.
Stack misses the turnaround. JV, 2 years ago in the 05 playoffs, the Mavericks loved that matchup, Stackhouse against Barbosa. But Barbosa, as you see there, has evolved into such a beautiful player. 2 of the last 3 games, he's equaled his career high with 32 points.
Well, he's only averaging 23, 4 assists, 56% shooting in his last 5 games, Mike. So I don't know that they like that matchup.
One of the reasons that they started Devin Harris tonight for Dallas, as Stackhouse pulls the trigger from behind the arc, is that forces Steve Nash to guard somebody. Steve Nash was going to guard Greg Buckner, who is an offensive non-factor. You put Devin Harris out there, that puts a tremendous amount of pressure on Steve, who continually matches up against Dirk Nowitzki, and they have no answer for that.
Beautiful dive by Marion. It is 9 of 12 start for Phoenix. Mark Cuban working the officials early on. Nash has 4 assists here in the first. 6:51.
Again, Dallas switching all pick and rolls. We've seen Dirk Nowitzki matched up with Steve Nash time and time again, and you know who's going to win that battle.
Another turnover, the 4th. The Suns have made 5 straight shots. 6 different Suns have scored here in the first 7 minutes.
The way this Phoenix Sun team gets the ball to Steve Nash, who is just playing perfect basketball.
Oh.
You could not ask for a better start, with the exception of the 2 fouls that both Boris Diaw and Amare Stoudemire. It's going to force Avery Johnson to take another timeout. With the exception of the 2 fouls that both Boris Diaw and Amare Stoudemire. It's going to force Avery Johnson to take another timeout.
The Phoenix Suns have come out of the gate 10 of 13 from the field. Steve Nash is 4 assists, 5 points. Dallas down 11.
Mavericks are electing to switch pick and rolls. We've seen Dirk Nowitzki on Steve Nash. He's just going to take it to the paint and find the open man. He's done it twice. And then when he gets a little bit of an opening, Desana Diop can't get out. Steve Nash knows exactly what to do every single time down the court, and he's taking advantage of it right now.
And guys, let me bring in Lisa Salters here, because Avery Johnson's attention has been attracted by this Suns' great start, Lisa.
Oh, Mike, you were talking about the passion and the fire that both of these coaches have. Just 2 timeouts ago, Avery Johnson really lit into his team. He said, look, when we're playing defense and we get set, we're doing okay. We've gotten some steals. We get an offensive rebound. And he said at that time, they've scored 7 points. We've given them 7 points because of our turnovers. Then he turned to Eric Dampier, who was in the game at the time, and he got on about his defense. And he said, you can't rotate and get screamed. You got to get out there on the guy like you do in practice. He said, Eric, you let your team down when you do stuff like that. Then he softened it up at the end. I guess he wanted to leave it on a positive note. He said, look, a couple of mistakes. Take care of the ball. We should be fine. Like,
Barbosa misses some Stackhouse travel. Absolutely. We got trapped there as Phoenix was diving down to cut off that passing lane. 5 Dallas turnovers, Bill.
As a follow-up to Lisa's point, Dallas's defense off the ball is atrocious. Now, you can get away with that against most teams, but nobody really plays the way Phoenix and Steve Nash play, which is always looking for somebody else.
Threaded the needle to Marion, and this Sagana Diop gets the rebound. Diop, Nowitzki, Greg Buckner, Terry diving down the lane, earning a couple of more free throws here for Dallas. A Maverick team that's only hit 3 field goals with 3:45 to go in the first. Marion got the foul his first.
You know, normally you tell your point guard, get rid of the basketball. Quit dribbling the basketball. But Steve Nash, he's got that thing on a yo-yo, and when he goes around in the paint, all he's doing is waiting for someone to look at him. And normally 4 guys look at him, and he hits a guy for a wide-open layup. Now, if they don't come to him, he just gets into a nice little fadeaway shot. He's just a mastermind with the basketball.
Terry takes his second free throw. TNT tomorrow night. Miami at the Nets, followed by the Lakers at Denver. NBA TV on Friday. You will see these Suns back home against the Detroit Pistons, and then Detroit goes home Sunday on ABC as Buckner fouls Nash out high. You'll have the Mavericks and Pistons in what could be an NBA Finals preview. The coverage there starts at 3 Eastern with the pregame show featuring Dan Patrick and Michael Wilbon. Are you on again, John? They've invited you back.
Wow. Absolutely.
Okay.
While we're on the subject of Steve Nash,
yes, sir.
He not only is the best at what he does, he's the only one that does what he does. The level of uniqueness of little Steve Nash, who won his first MVP award at 31 years of age, joining the likes of beautiful back cut.
Marion missed it. Got it back. Fans wanted to travel. It was already up in the air, and the rebound is put back in to make it an 11-point lead.
What they wanted, Mike, was you can't pass the ball to yourself.
Yeah, right.
It would have had to have hit the rim, which it didn't appear to hit the rim.
It did.
I have to clean my glasses.
But again, Dallas confused on how they're playing the pick and roll and just normal screens. This Chop, who's really had a breakout year.
He's completely turned his body around physically. Here's a guy who's lost well over 100 pounds. Now has finally got himself in shape and has become a real force for this Maverick team.
Nash goes right at Chop, pulls the string on Sagana, and Steve connects on his 3rd field goal. He has 7 points, 4 assists, 2 rebounds in his return back to a place where he was a star for a half dozen years. Austin Crozier checked in for the Mavericks, and he and Jason Terry misconnect. And it is another Dallas turnover. So the Dallas Mavericks have turned it over 6 times in the first quarter. Steve Nash and the Suns have opened 12 of 18 from the field and lead this showdown by 11. Thank you, Fred. Bucks did make the playoffs last year. They play again here in another night or so. Phoenix leading Dallas by 11. When the Mavericks are on that 17-game run, people start looking, oh, they're 52-10. They probably won't get to the Bulls at 72-10, but can they join this list of teams where 4 of the top 5 went on to win the NBA title? Needless to say, if Dallas has a final quarter of the season close to the first 3 quarters they had, they'll be closing in on that 67, 68, perhaps the magical 70-win mark. But the last 5 quarters haven't been good. They lost to Golden State Monday by 17, and that wasn't indicative of how close the game was. Golden State blew them out. Down here by 11, but good defense on this trip. But a shot clock violation is avoided as the Mavericks draw the foul, or are called for the foul, on the bench. Dirk's first. So guys, you talk about finishing and finishing strong. What will the Mavs do in their last 20 games? They would need to go 18-2, which has been done in recent times, multiple times, but that's still a lot to ask for. And you don't know what they're going to be playing for or their opponents will be playing for down the stretch. So it's hard to really forecast how a great team will end the season.
I don't think they should be concerned with getting 70 wins, 69 wins. Just be playing your best basketball towards the end of that stretch. More than likely, they're going to be the #1 seed. And if they're playing well, that's all you should be concerned about. Who cares about a regular season record? They don't hand out championship trophies in the regular season, Bill.
John, it was just a year ago at this time that everybody was saying all the same things about the Detroit Pistons that they're saying about the Dallas Mavericks right now. The Pistons fell apart in the playoffs, and until they got Chris Webber, we're totally out of the picture.
Stackhouse to the rack, 12-point game. A 10-point game, 28-18. Barbosa gets it back to 12. He's so fast with the ball.
You mentioned the Golden State game. This is a mirror image. The Mavericks are turning the ball over. They had 23 against Golden State. They gave up 60 points in the paint to Golden State. And Beandridge had an unbelievable game in dominating the basket area.
Dirk is doubled. Stackhouse. The 3 over the top. It'll go to Phoenix with 1:33 to go.
It's all come through pick and roll. The Dallas Mavericks are playing awful pick and roll defense right now. Early picks, early in the shot clock. Picks that are way out, almost at half court right there. Kurt Thomas lays one on for Leandro Barbosa to get all over the basket. You can't let a man get to the basket on one single pick out of the half court line.
We hear so much about the Maverick defense. They've given up 30 points. This is a 140-point pace for the Phoenix Suns right now.
Barbosa turned it over in transition. Buckner going the other way. Offensive foul drawn by Raja Bell.
Raja Bell in position. I'm going to let you talk about the offensive fouls, John.
That is 2 on Greg Buckner. If you weren't with us at the start, Devin Harris also has 2 personal fouls. Diaw and Stoudemire have 2 for Phoenix. Bell misses. Kurt Thomas the rebound.
The amazing thing about Kurt Thomas' injury was that they didn't miss a beat. I don't think they lost a game while he was out.
Barbosa goes right at Crozier. Thomas touched it while it was in the cylinder. It'll be Mavericks ball. Guys, this is the stretch that has been of the most intrigue the last few years. When Steve Nash goes out, Barbosa's minutes at the point have improved so much this year, it's less of a drastic negative impact on the Phoenix team.
Most importantly is the evolution and development of Boris Diaw, who now can control the offense and keep everybody involved instead of just reverting to the one-on-one game that permeates the rest of the league.
Out of bounds off Crozier.
It's clearly a different team, Mike. It might not be a drastic change, but there is a significant change. I watched this team the 4 games Steve Nash was out, and they had a very difficult time. Right down the center of the lane goes Raja Bell. Where is this Dallas vaunted defense, Bill?
You've got Eric Dampier and Sagana Diop sitting on the bench as Avery Johnson trying to go small. The D'Antoni has set the pace here. And it has been a remarkable first quarter for these Phoenix Suns.
Game and shot clock virtually the same. Stackhouse backing Barbosa. Leandro gave him no room to rise up, and that will bring the first quarter to an end. An awful quarter for the Mavs, who made only 5 field goals and turned it over 7 times. And hear it a little bit from this crowd. Nowitzki didn't have a field goal, while the Suns had 6 players score. They shot 67% from the field. And in the heavyweight showdown in the West after 1, Phoenix leads Dallas by 14. Quarter here in Dallas, Phoenix leading the Mavs 32-18. Time for tonight's Converse All-In Team moment, John.
It's been all about Steve Nash and the brilliance of smarts of this MVP player. Here we get a switch. He's got Dirk Nowitzki on him. He knows he could go by him, takes him into the lane and just drops it off to a cutting Sean Marion. And this time, Desana Diop, why don't you get it a try? Switches on him, knows he could go right by him, takes him down the lane. A nice little floater, fadeaway jumper. Steve Nash, 7 points, 4 assists, 15 points total, almost half of the total. Dallas Mavericks have got to switch up their pick and roll coverage. You cannot switch on Steve Nash.
And the greatest thing about Steve Nash in the age of Shaq here, Steve is short, slow, and can't jump, and is still the best player in all the land.
Raja Bell with the miss. It's Austin Crozier, Devin Harris, Jerry Stackhouse, Dirk Nowitzki, and John Howard. A scoring unit on the floor for Dallas. You still have Nash on the bench and Amari Stoudemire with 2 fouls as the second quarter begins. Nowitzki over Bell.
How do you guard Dirk Nowitzki? I don't think you can.
Well, they've gone small with Raja Bell, and anytime he sees that, they're going to go to the free throw line and post him up.
Nice defensive presence by Crozier, but the bump caused the foul as Barbosa, who's been working that baseline great tonight.
I think this is a great thing that Avery Johnson does. Anytime a small plays Dirk Nowitzki, he takes him to the top of the key. Very difficult to double team from that stage. Dirk Nowitzki loves to go left, but he anticipates that he's going to get cut off. He's great at spinning back the other way and knocking down that fadeaway jumper.
But isn't that what Golden State did on Monday night?
Well, they don't go in every night, Bill.
They just ran people at Dirk and said, hey, this guy is too good. We're going to make the other guys see if they can beat us.
One more coming for Barbosa. Amari Stoudemire comes back in. If you want to be an all-star at the NBA Finals, log on to NBA.com. Chance to win a trip for 2 to the NBA Finals 2007, including round-trip transportation, hotel accommodations, and 2 tickets to a finals game. Of course, the finals were here last year. Dallas losing to Miami in 6 after getting the first 2 games of that series.
A great sign for D'Antoni and his Phoenix Suns. With Amari Stoudemire on the bench, shot with those 2 fouls, Phoenix outscored Dallas by 10, 24-14. The offense just kept rolling, the rhythm team, and the defense good enough to get it done for Phoenix.
Hey, Bill, let's just set the Suns out there. James Jones came in at the start of the quarter with Diao, Bell, Barbosa, and Amari Stoudemire just checked in. Stackhouse lost it on his hip, still 10 to shoot.
That is a dribbling violation.
Knocks down the long 2 to make it a 12-point game. Stack leading the Mavs in their St. Patrick's Day green 3rd uniform. He has 7 points. Barbosa on the switch, and Diop.
He just did that 3 minutes ago.
The same move, just picked a different defender and just went right by him and said, this is in your face, and there's nothing you can do about it.
There's no way Diop can stay with this guy, the fastest player in the NBA, possibly.
Along with Iverson, maybe TJ Ford.
Howard, and 1. Chance for the 3-point play. Watch the speed of Barbosa last trip.
Again, another high pick and roll to the baseline side. And Diop's got no chance. He's standing in cement.
And on this end, the Josh Howard hoop is multiplied as a good move for Dallas because it is the 3rd personal foul on Boris Diaw, the most improved player of the year, is going to have to come to the bench. Lisa Salters, are you going to tell us a story about Barbosa?
I absolutely
and
am,
his
Mike.
Speed.
And
it's a great story.
This was just shocking to me. I was talking to Dan D'Antoni before the game, and he, as you know, has been Barbosa's tutor, you know, kind of helping him out these last couple of years. I asked him what was the strangest question that Barbosa's ever asked him, and he said, I don't have a question, but I can tell you the strangest thing he ever did. Down at the Suns' end of the court during a game, Barbosa lost the ball and ran across court, said, sorry, coach, to Mike D'Antoni, and then sprinted down to get to the other end of the fast break, and he was there to defend it. He made it.
Diop cleans this one up, gets the hoop, and the foul, and some energy here for Dallas, matching Phoenix from the first quarter, and Harris, who you're talking about, took the worst of that and is down at the baseline.
We can only hope that Devin Harris is going to be okay. They're going to take a timeout here.
Couldn't see him with all the bodies that were around him that he took the shot and he was down. And they are concerned as they check here on Devin. Let's get a look at it here as he came driving in for the hoop. Step as they've called the timeout. And he takes the shot right across the head as James Jones is coming over for defensive help. So we'll check on Devin Harris for a moment as he's down. We'll be right back in Dallas. Sacramento and Golden State, 36 losses each, 2 behind the Clippers for the final spot in the West. Fred Devin Harris walked off gingerly under his own power after taking this inadvertent but very heavy arm across the head from James Jones. Harris stayed down for about another 30-40 seconds after we went away, sat up. They were talking to him, and as you see, he was being led back with the Mavs team physicians for further evaluation. And Lisa Salters will be checking on that. If we hear anything from the Mavs, we'll have more on it for you. Meantime, chance to complete the three-point play for Sagana Diop. 39 of 67 at the line this year.
The problem that Phoenix faces right now, they had the big early lead. Nash is getting his customary rest. Boris Diaw, the other guy that keeps it all together, he's saddled with 3 fouls. How long can D'Antoni let Nash sit this one out?
And James Jones wide open. You can't leave him open. Knocks down a 3. 38% three-point shooter in his 4th year out of Miami after he spent the first part of his career with the Pacers.
Another blown coverage in the pick-and-roll game by the Dallas Mavericks.
Here is Howard. He knocks down the Mavs' 5th field goal of this quarter. They did that in 2.5 minutes. It took them the whole first quarter to get 5 field goals.
You know, Stoudemire has 2 fouls as well, but you can't do anything. You can't go at him with shot.
What you can do is drive to the basket.
Well, hopefully he's smart enough to know to get out of the way.
Stoudemire put it on the ground. Terry was in the way. No numbers for Josh Howard to back it out.
Nice to see Josh Howard having a big game. He has not been the same player since the All-Star game, which he so richly deserved.
Good battle by Nowitzki. Avery always wants him to get 1 offensive rebound, or 2 rebounds a game, 1.5. That time he throws it off the back of the backboard, and that's out of bounds, and it is Phoenix ball. Avery has dirt this year. Just get a couple offensive rebounds per game.
Well, they've got 7 as a team, so that's a great job. That's something that the Phoenix Suns have focused on, is to not allow any second chance opportunities. The problem is they're getting the second chances, but they're not scoring.
Phoenix is not a great rebounding team. This is an offensively skilled team that can get out in transition, good enough defensively to clamp down when necessary, but not a dynamite rebounding squad.
Marion free for a corner triple. Amari goes up and gets it. Terry knocked it away.
What a pass.
Off Marion's hands, out of bounds.
Did you see how he picked that ball up? He just palmed it right off the ground with one hand. Come here, it's like a tennis ball in his hands.
But that play was reminiscent of the game that took place between these 2 great squads on December 28th, which was won in Dallas by 2 points, 101-99. They made all the right plays down the stretch. Steve Nash was putting the ball in perfect position, and every one of the front court players for Phoenix, they dropped the ball out of bounds, and they couldn't get it done.
Nowitzki won that game with a game-winning shot. Here tonight, he's 1 of 4, but there's another offensive rebound, John, for Dallas.
Got to take advantage of these opportunities.
Terry.
They do this time. Oh, he missed the layup.
Off chop, it will be Phoenix ball. Bill mentioned the second meeting between these teams as Steve Nash is going to come back in next opportunity. First meeting between these teams was November 9th at Phoenix. Dallas won that game 119-112. When they met in that game, Dallas was 0-4. Phoenix was 1-4. Jones left open. Dallas cannot solve this basic Phoenix play.
And they play one more time after tonight, April 1st in Phoenix.
That'll be on ABC, part of NBA Sunday. NBA Wednesday here on ESPN. It's a timeout, Dallas, as they lead by 13. 42-29. The Suns have hit 4 threes, 2 of them from James Jones. 42-29. The Suns have hit 4 threes, 2 of them from James Jones. Johnson has taken over here. He's changed the culture to defense and hasn't seen it in the first 16 minutes tonight.
When we've gotten our defense set, we've been pretty good. We got steals on the late, you know, maybe 1 offensive rebound, But when we've gotten our defense set, but they've scored how many points off our turnovers? 7 points you've given them.
You can hear the passion of Avery, and this is why, Bill, they were a terrible defensive team. They've evolved to 3rd best in points allowed in the league. They're on pace to do a franchise best at 92.2. So Phoenix has scored very easily here tonight.
I think we're seeing the 2003-2004 version of the Dallas Mavericks defense when they were 28, giving up 100 a game.
But Dallas has completely changed the culture here of how they think about how they're going to play. And that's all due to Avery Johnson and what he brought from San Antonio. Dallas has 8 offensive rebounds, but only 7 second chance points. And they have not converted a single of Phoenix's 6 turnovers into a point, and they only have 2 fast break points. Steve Nash is too good.
And seeing Nowitzki again and lighting it up one more time. 13-point lead. Suns have led by as many as 14 here tonight.
I think that's what the Dallas Mavericks can hang their hat on, that they have the best balance in the league of defense and offense, and that's why they're the best team in the league.
2 nice passes. Jop, 2 tries, couldn't finish. Volleyball out to Buckner, keeping this trip alive.
Amari Stoudemire, that's got to be his defensive rebound. It's up there that long. You've got to be able to grab that.
Howard never looked in rhythm shooting that 3. The rebound for Barbosa. The Mavs are shooting 35% here tonight.
Steve Nash, look for him to try to find James Jones and milk that hot hand from three-point land. There's that fake switch again, and Nash will just torture that all game long.
Jones has hit 2. Make it 3 3-pointers for James Jones tonight.
He hadn't hit the rim yet, Mike.
Well, he's in a real zone. He's also got 39 consecutive free throws made coming into tonight's game, which is the 2nd longest streak after Kyle Korver from Philadelphia.
Jones has scored 9 of their last 11. The lead is 16. Nowitzki, that unblockable 7-foot fadeaway.
What a shot.
Oh, Barbosa right back, going almost too fast. But the foul is called. Now, of course, you saw Devin Harris get hurt a couple of moments ago. Lisa Salters has been checking on it and has an update. Lisa?
Well, Mike, the Mavs are saying that Devin Harris, when he fell, he hit his head, and I think we could see that when we watch the replay. Right now, he's being evaluated back in the Mavericks locker room. He's feeling some effects of getting hit in the head like that, a little dizzy, a little lightheaded. His return right now, they're saying, is questionable.
Okay, Lisa, thank you. It's, the foul on Greg Buckner is his 3rd, so you have Harris back in the locker room. No Devin George tonight. Buckner with 3 fouls. So Dallas's very good depth is being maxed out here this evening.
One of the 3 deepest teams in the entire league, the Mavericks, along with Chicago and Utah and Miami when they have their entire contingent.
Back is fouled as Jones was holding on to him. You know, guys, we mentioned the 17-point loss to Golden State, but it was much worse. They were down by as many as 30 in the 3rd quarter, and Dirk Nowitzki talked about his surprise about the reaction to the loss here in Dallas.
You know, it's a little weird. We lost 1 game and everybody's kind of shocked, and you know, guys around here are a little nervous, and I'm like, you know, we lost 1 game. It's March, and you know, we'll be okay.
It was funny when Dirk told us that this morning. We followed up with him afterward, and he said, yeah, it was even within the team he was surprised at the reaction. And then Avery Johnson telling us in his office about an hour and a half before the game that he was furious and anxious to see how his team responded. They didn't respond very well in the 1st quarter. Avery's kind of lit the fire under them a bit. As you talked about, he is the spokesman and leader for this team. Here in the 2nd quarter, the defensive effort has been better. Varian, Stoudemire never gave up on the play.
Stoudemire, phenomenal dive for the ball and the strength to be able to pull it in. The motto for the Dallas Mavericks is finish. Tonight, it should be start.
Was that Larry Bird to Kevin McHale there?
Terry outside triple. 11-point game.
Oh, my goodness.
Back to Barbosa. Wasn't in position to make the reverse. Mavs break 4 on 2. Stackhouse open right. Nowitzki takes it. Out of bounds. Off Phoenix.
That is the rebound that Amari Stoudemire has to own.
Those of you just clicking over, top of the hour. Here in Dallas, the Mavericks 52-10, coming off a 17-game win streak being snapped at Golden State, taking on the team with the 2nd best record in the league, the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix has won 5 in a row, 10 of its last 11. They've led here by as many as 16. It's down to 11, and Devin Harris, the Mavs starting guard, is back in the locker room after what seemed to be some sort of a concussion-type injury. The foul there on Raja Bell is his first, and Jason Terry trying to involve the 227th consecutive sellout here in Dallas to push the home team over the hump hill.
The problem for Phoenix is that it was so easy and so good so early that now they have to spend the rest of the game fighting off this raucous crowd, and that's a difficult task.
Back house, let Barbosa commit, and free throws are coming for the veteran out of North Carolina.
What did Avery Johnson tell us before the game? I want my guys to get double teamed. I want Dirk to have to work on that pass that he just made right there across court. Great pass by Jason Terry back to Jerry Stackhouse, but that's what he wants to see his team get better at, specifically Dirk Nowitzki.
Yeah, John, he talked about that when we asked him about the final quarter of the season, because Avery likes to look at this marathon season in quarters. So many coaches do. And he said he wants to see that in the final quarter. See those guys command the double team and pass out of it, because when you get to playoff basketball, Billy, it's about a lot of half court, a lot of double team, because you see the same team 5-6 games in a row.
And that's why you have to have the great individual talent that Dirk Nowitzki has become. To win the championship, you have to have the best players, and Dirk Nowitzki has gradually evolved into one of the guys that has the chance to be the difference maker.
9-2 Dallas run, fans to their feet. And back behind us here, Nash, what a pass to Marion. A better one to Stoudemire, but a foul denies the chance of the...
Always in complete control, understands when he has to be aggressive to score, sets people up as good as anybody in the business, and it was a typical Steve Nash first half.
Steve, one of 6 Suns to score either 9 or 11 points in that first half. Here's Lisa Salter.
Well, Mike, I talked to Avery Johnson just a few minutes ago, and he said we got a lot of silly turnovers, and that was uncharacteristic for us, especially in that first quarter. But we got it in gear somewhat in the second quarter, and as long as we take care of the ball, we should be fine. He said we've got to limit the easy baskets that the Suns get, and they're getting a lot on backdoor cuts, so we've got to make sure we're set defensively. Also, an update on Devin Harris. They're saying that he suffered a neck strain on that fall, and his return, Mike, is doubtful.
Okay, Lisa, and remember, Dallas shorthanded already without Devin George. That play happened early in the second quarter, a quarter where Dallas turned things around, Bill.
The MVP matchup, I thought it was decidedly in Steve Nash's favor. In the first quarter, the Mavericks, though, they shot 28% and had 7 turnovers. They completely turned that around in the second quarter, 54%, only 1 turnover, and momentum when the crowd is in their favor. What kind of start will it be? The 3-second violation is called against Amari Stoudemire.
So Dallas will get it after Phoenix's 8th turnover here of the game. Devin Harris did start the game for the Mavs. Now they go back to Greg Buckner, who has started 10 games this year. He joins Nowitzki, Dampier. Eric Dampier is very quiet in that first half, along with Jason Terry and Josh Howard. Nowitzki loses it. Nash leads the floor. Throws it to Stoudemire. And one. Amari Stoudemire starts the third quarter with a chance for a 3-point play.
I think the Dallas Mavericks should feel very fortunate being this close. You let a Phoenix Suns team shoot 60%, go 6 of 9 from the 3-point line, and like you pointed out, Bill, the offensive rebounding has kept this team in this game. 12 offensive rebounds in the first half, and that was a point of contention for the Phoenix Suns. Keep this team off the glass.
Stoudemire's first free throw miss. That was a great replay just to watch Nash kind of feel the floor. It's such a feel for where all 9 other players are, his team and the other side. Buckner could not finish. Dampier is denied inside by Marion, but gets the second chance.
2 more offensive rebounds there for Eric Dampier.
A technical foul, too, for doing the chin-up. Great rejection by Sean Marion. Dampier comes right back and throws it down. And a lot of players will do that to prevent injury. When there's a big crowd and scrum underneath the basket, you do that. Steve Nash will shoot the technical free throw, the 3rd greatest free throw shooter by the numbers in the history of NBA play.
I found myself doing a lot of chin-ups. Unfortunately, they weren't on an NBA basketball rim.
Come on, Bill, there was your chance. You find a way to get John's dad, Rick, in the show every time the 3 of us.
He couldn't dunk either.
I don't know. You mentioned Nash's 3rd career free throws.
I'm amazed that Rick Barry is not even higher than he is. Mark Price, #1.
Thank you.
All time.
Boris Diaw missed from 17. Here comes the Mavericks. Terrific in this building. They're trying to win for the 24th consecutive time. Here at home, it's a franchise record.
Can Boris Diaw do anything against Dirk Nowitzki? Apparently not. I would never let Dirk Nowitzki go left if I was Doug. I'd rather give up a layup going right than anything going left. Look at Steve Nash and the run after him.
He knew it was off, couldn't chase it down. Mavs ball.
The ability to just put the ball on the floor, one peck dribble to your strong move, and Dirk loves to go left. He learned that as a youngster. Unlike Steve Nash, did not have the injury as a youth that forced Steve Nash to learn to go left.
Dallas hasn't been this close since it was 18 to 12 in the first quarter.
Great little tip or rebound, and I hope they give Steve Nash the rebound for that. No. They don't? No.
He did. Boris Diaw thought about three.
A lot of time. Bring it back out. Let Steve Nash run the wheel again.
They spread. He draws three. Gets to Stoudemire. So Amari Stoudemire is 4 of 5 from the field, 5 of 6 from the line, 13 points, 5 rebounds. Steve has a half dozen assists.
What an incredible pass. He was almost falling down, didn't panic. Shot clock running down as Buckner takes him to the basket and gets it and one.
Foul on Nash.
Look at Steve, almost falls down, knows what he's going to do. Drops it off to Stoudemire, one of the best finishers in the game. And Buckner, a little surprise offense, taking Steve Nash to the basket, draws the hoop. Or the harm and the hoop.
Taking a page out of the theory of Jason Terry, which is get it back on the other end of the court against Steve Nash. Steve Nash, the first player leading the league in assists to win the MVP since Magic Johnson in 1987.
Foul call on the other side.
The pace is really slowed, and it started in the second quarter. Phoenix got out to a great start because they did their work early in the offense. I think anytime you play against a good defensive team, early, quick shots are usually going to be open. That's the best time to score against a good defense.
Trying to hold off the foul with Jason Terry credited. It is his third. Nash so effective at keeping that dribble alive down there. Stoudemire works baseline, blocking foul called on Josh Howard. Mavs bench is furious. Mark Cuban, the owner of his typical spot.
When isn't he furious?
They wanted the hook on the arm of Stoudemire. And Avery Johnson was the one, along with Cuban, who couldn't believe it. And you see Mark Cuban, he gets criticized for a lot of things by a lot of people, but who wouldn't want to have him as the owner of the team you root for? They've made the playoffs every year, 70% win percentage in his time. Diaw. Dallas is forcing Phoenix to take a lot of shot clock here in this third quarter, and half-court offense is not as good as the Suns going rim to rim.
When you get the ball out of Steve Nash's hand, get it to Boris Diaw. That's the guy that you don't mind shooting the ball a lot.
Dirk faking, taking, making.
Absolutely awesome.
D'Antoni has to be extremely concerned. The matchup. Boris Diaw, as great of talent as he is just does not have the discipline defensively head-to-head against Dirk.
Nobody could hear the whistle so loud in here. Foul on the Mavericks.
But the way that Boris Diaw is jumping around and leaning, he should learn a little bit from Raja Bell about how to stay down, how to force the guy to do something he doesn't want to do. Dirk Nowitzki, since the first quarter, has been on fire.
Nash rims out a three. Dallas can tie with a three here. The 7-footer leads the break. Takes the three. Dampier soars to keep the possession alive.
Phoenix Suns fans can only chant their mantra, will somebody please get a rebound?
Howard at 2. 1-point game.
Second chance opportunity again. Set up by Eric Dampier. Great offensive rebound work by the Dallas Mavericks tonight.
Pick and roll switch. Dampier has Nash. They get it back to him. Will they clear space? Here goes Steve. Inside. Couldn't finish. Off Stoudemire. and it will be Dallas ball. Mavericks fans wanted the foul. That wasn't called.
Avery Johnson has done a nice job of changing up the defense on Steve Nash. Now he's got Josh Howard. Lots of length. This is something that Phil Jackson always used to love to do against the great small point guards.
11-3 Dallas run. Next shot for the lead. Howard. He'll do it at the free throw line. And both teams very frustrated with the foul calls. Cuban asking for a T. The foul is on Dial. It is Boris's fourth.
Dallas has come back out here in the second half and gone at Boris Diaw exclusively, whether it be Dirk Nowitzki or Josh Howard. They're taking Boris Diaw and trying to take him off the dribble. Great job there by Josh Howard.
So Diaw to the bench with 4. James Jones, who hit 3 3-pointers in the first half, checks in for the Suns.
The way it's become a half-court game, D'Antoni might be forced to play Kurt Thomas in conjunction with Amari Stoudemire to do something to negate the advantage that Dallas has on the backboards.
Josh Howard ties the game at 65. TNT tomorrow night. Shaq and the Heat surging at the Nets, followed by the Lakers at Denver. NBA TV Friday, these Suns back home against the Pistons. Pistons go over to Michigan to take on Dallas. NBA Sunday, 3 Eastern on ABC. This free throw for the lead.
Whoa.
Missed it, but chased it down. Dallas has not led since 2-0. Phoenix had a 16-point lead. That's been erased. Howard gives them the lead. And a chance for a 3-point play.
You work them, you grind them, you wear them down, you feed off the enthusiasm of your home crowd. It will never let you down. Josh Howard just taking control here in the third.
Howard, who has been great in first quarters this year, having a terrific third quarter, largest lead of the night for the Mavericks.
Josh Howard has been bothered of late by a bad ankle. Been trying to get back, but the help is just not there. This is a league that requires superb help.
Nash to Marion, and while they were on the free throw line, Mike D'Antoni pointed to Sean Marion. Rarely do they run plays for Sean. He does so much off the other action, but there they called his number, and the All-Star makes it a 1-point game.
Dallas has also decided to go with size on Steve Nash. We've seen Buckner, we've seen Josh Howard on Steve Nash, and they've done a nice job thus far in the third quarter.
Howard over Bell.
Terrific defense, just locked him down by Roger Bell.
Lob, Stoudemire at the rack. Nash's 7th assist of the game.
Again, the up-tempo, Amari Stoudemire outruns Dirk Nowitzki, easy basket.
But you can't run unless you can control the defensive backboard.
Sean Marion draws the defensive assignment on Nowitzki. Will help come? No, it's Solo. Dampier soars for the putback. Couple of hoops for Eric Dampier now. James Jones tied up, taken away by Terry. Howard right, Nowitzki coming down. To Terry for the corner 3. Timeout, Phoenix. The Mavericks, 20 points in the first 6 minutes of this quarter. They've erased what was, in the second quarter, a 16-point Phoenix lead. Terry, Howard, Nowitzki, Dallas's big 3 leading the way. The Mavericks lead by 4.
Team off guard, but right now the Mavericks hitting 6 of their last 9 shots. They are in control. Traveling violation. The Suns are falling apart before our eyes.
The Mavs 55% shooting since a 28% first quarter. And the second chance points, Bill. What are they? It's unbelievable.
Dallas plus 19. 23-4 on the offensive glass for the Mavericks.
What teamwork for you two. Just brings a tear to my eye. Nowitzki met 2 defenders there, hit the deck, no foul called. It's 4-on-3 Phoenix. Bell didn't take the three, went in for the two, and led to a Stoudemire dunk. So Amari Stoudemire now has 17 points. He's only missed 2 shots, 1 field goal, 1 free throw. Dampier pitched it to Terry, and Jason sends it to 15 points for Mavericks with 14 or more tonight, led by Nowitzki, who has 17.
We're getting to the point now where it's going to be critical for Phoenix, because with Boris Diaw in foul trouble, what do you do when Steve Nash goes to the bench momentarily for his customary rest? This is a tough mismatch for Eric Dampier, and forces Nash into that errant shot.
That pick and roll switch has worked better for Dallas, and Dampier ended up with Nash on the other end. They couldn't get back to their matchups, and the Mavericks have a 6-point lead. Good recognition by Dallas there.
Great find, great seal, easy seal for Eric Dampier with Steve Nash on his back.
The greatest development for the Mavericks this year from last is their mental toughness.
Nash over Nowitzki. So Steve was 0 for 4 in the quarter until he knocked down that shot. 14 points, 8 assists.
About the same spot he took the last one. You know he's not going to miss 2 in a row from there. The 53% shooter.
It's amazing what we're seeing out here, because Dallas is winning the game, yet Steve Nash is playing better than anybody else on the court.
Well, great hard work. I know Dampier didn't come away with the ball, but terrific energy expended there. We'll get subs now. Leandro Barbosa, Kurt Thomas for Phoenix. Dampier gets the standing ovation as he comes to the bench for Sagana Diop.
All the fans want is effort, and they're getting that from Eric Dampier, and that just fires this sold-out crowd up, and that's just going to drive everybody to limits that they can't get to on their own. Dampier's got 6 points all this quarter.
What are you saying? Limits they can't control?
Limits they can't get to.
Okay, okay, I'm sorry.
You started laughing before I said it.
I knew where you were going. I was worried. Dampier couldn't check in. The shot wasn't at the table. The steal by Terry. Howard couldn't convert. Chance for the 3-point play.
Somebody lost a wristband out there in transition.
That's hard. That's a limit you can't control. Barbosa just picked up the foul. It's his second. You know, guys, we see these two teams and the energy and the quality of play. You take a step back and look at their wonderful body of work this year. These teams have combined for 5 double-digit win streaks this season. You get the Mavericks and Suns both have had 17-game win streaks, which is the 7th longest win streak, equaling that in the history of the league. Dallas has had 3 streaks of more than 12 consecutive wins. First team in NBA history to do that. And here's a bit of a surprise as Dallas brings in Jose Juan Barea, the rookie out of Northeastern. Because of Devin Harris's injury, he has to come in.
To guard Leandro Barbosa.
Welcome to the NBA.
Jose, a terrific scorer at Northeastern, and Barbosa fires up a 3 right away.
I guess he didn't get the message.
Yeah, you got the middle guy over there who's really fast.
Jose has played a total of 76 minutes, 21 games, so at the end of games. But he played some significant minutes the last 2 games, and he gets an assist on the Stackhouse 3. Dallas by 7, Nash transition triple. Rebound Nowitzki. Howard. A 9-point Maverick lead, and another timeout for Phoenix. A 10-point quarter for Josh Howard. He had 8 in the first half. He's one of the top scorers in the league in the first quarter. Josh Howard 10 here in the third. The Mavs have turned it around by 25. We mentioned a 25-point swing from down 16. Dallas is now up 9. Here's tonight's Chevrolet Game Track.
Well, Steve Nash was terrific in the first half, but he's just got 3 points thus far here in the third quarter. Great defense by Dallas.
But the battle of the board, second chance points, plus 17 for Dallas. Dallas has 18 offensive rebounds. Eric Dampier is just awesome out there. He's got 6 offensive rebounds. Dampier does not have a single defensive rebound.
After the slow start, Nowitzki's come on. He has 17 points. And Lisa Salters has more on what the Suns are going to try to do to stem the tide here.
Well, Mike D'Antoni just said, hey, they went on a run. Now it's time for us to go on a run. Let's make our run right now. The trouble is, he had to give Steve Nash his customary break. He subbed in James Jones, and they've got to go on this run without their floor general.
Yep. Kurt Thomas, James Jones, Sean Marion, Raja Bell, and Barbosa, the 5 on the floor for D'Antoni.
No signs of Boris Diaw, which can't be good for Phoenix.
Kurt Thomas goes to get it, but he was laying on the baseline. It will belong to the Mavericks.
Correa just blocked that shot, by the way. I'm going to give him a block there.
Are you official stats tonight?
Well, I was wrong the first time, but that was a block.
We'll check if Jose has garnered his first NBA block. Out of Northeastern, very good point guard there the last couple of seasons. Played 4 years up in Boston. Nowitzki to the rack.
Sean Marion, who is going to be one of the major players at the Defensive Player of the Year award at the end of the season, he has no clue as to what he's trying to do against Dirk Nowitzki. You've got to force him right.
Barbosa watched by Correa, and the foul is called outside.
Dirk Nowitzki wants to go left. That's his game, going to the hoop, and Sean Marion is forcing him that way, and that's okay if your team strategy is to come and double team him. But obviously, not everybody's on the same page in the Phoenix lineup right now.
Well, yeah, I think if you get to the middle of the floor, that's when you put the most pressure on a defense. You want to force a man baseline and then get your help from there. Make him spin and then help on the baseline side.
One more coming for Barbosa later tonight on ESPN. Full wrap-up of tonight's NIT action, latest news, and get you set the last look at the brackets for the NCAA tournament. College game night on ESPN. It's after Sports Center, 1 a.m. Eastern. Midnight here in Texas, 10 on the West Coast. Of course, so many players here are involved with the NCAA tournament moments in their lives. We have 4 Dallas Mavericks who are Final Four participants. Steve Nash was part of one of those 215 upsets when he played for Santa Clara, and they knocked off Arizona. And I know a bunch of basketball players, and college basketball players, are waiting for their moment tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised if they're watching the game tonight. Have fun, guys. The country enjoys watching what you do the next couple of weeks. Stackhouse a 3. Dallas leads by 13. They trailed by 16 in the second quarter.
Phoenix is not able to deny guard penetration. They're just getting into the paint and then just kicking it out for wide open 3s. Stackhouse on fire here.
Phoenix's offense has gone stagnant. Barbosa missed the 3. Marion the chase down. Only 16 points in this quarter for the Suns. Barbosa attacked the rim but couldn't finish. Dirk the rebound.
Where's the on-court leadership going to come for Phoenix with Nash and Diaw both on the bench?
I don't think this 5 has played together much. With Correa, Jock, Nowitzki, Terry, and Stack. Correa thought about taking it. Force feed to Dirk as a turnover. Again, Devin Harris was injured his neck as he was hit across the head by James Jones' arm. Jones was going to block it in the second quarter. Jones was open in the corner. Barbosa didn't see it.
Great contain there by Dirk Nowitzki. Stayed in front of Barbosa. Made him kick it out to James Jones. He shot it well tonight, but wasn't able to get that one down.
James Jones was on fire in the first half. Really hasn't produced much in the second as the crowd rises as one at the close of the third.
Dirk.
Again, to his left, Bill. Bill, did you get a chance to play in the NCAA tournament?
John, I'm old enough to remember Bill playing in the NCAA tournament.
It was before you were born.
Here are the Mavericks who played the Final Four. Stackhouse, Carolina, 95. Eric Dampier, Mississippi State team, eliminated by Syracuse in 96. Jason Terry in 97, and Maurice Ager on the end of the bench. playing for Tom Izzo up at Michigan State. You see Jason Terry there. He was part of the last team, the only team, to beat 3 #1 seeds on the way to their national championship in Indianapolis. And his brother plays for UNLV. They're a 10 seed taking on Georgia Tech. JB's alma mater coming up here in the tournament this weekend.
That wasn't just #1 seeds. They beat the Titans in the history of college basketball. Kansas, Kentucky, North Carolina. What a great championship run. Miles Simon, Jason Terry, Mike Bibby. What a team. And Lute Olson, the Hall of Famer.
Marion tries to beat the clock. He does not. The Suns were outscored 38-16 in the third. Dallas shot 61% in that quarter, and Steve Nash is going to need an MVP fourth if the Suns want to avoid going 0 for 3 thus far this season against Dallas. Off we go to the fourth. It's about 11 o'clock on the East Coast, 10 here in Texas. They never changed the time in Arizona, but they didn't get the memo that the time was going to change a few weeks earlier here in Dallas. It's 10 o'clock in Texas, but our Domino's key matchup tonight shows it's Dirk Nowitzki time in that third quarter, as his numbers are better than Steve Nash's thus far here tonight. Part of the reason that the Mavericks have turned around a 16-point deficit and have a 15-point lead as we go to the fourth quarter. Nash was just 1 of 6 in the third. And John, why did things flip so much in that third quarter?
Well, Greg Buckner defensively did a great job on Steve Nash. We saw Josh Howard also playing Steve Nash. And after Bill anointed Steve as the MVP in the first half, I don't know if you're so sure anymore, are you, Bill?
No, I'm not. Because this has been an all Dallas Mavericks second half. The Phoenix Suns have completely stopped playing basketball. And Dirk Nowitzki is now leading a parade.
Raja Bell is hot, unhappy with the foul call, but it does come. You know, for Phoenix guys, their record's terrific, 49-14, but they are 1 and 6 against the other West superpowers. That would be Dallas, San Antonio, and Utah. Meantime, Dallas is trying to improve as you add the columns on the right. It's a 6 and 2 against teams 2, 3, and 4 in the West. Does it matter if Phoenix does not beat Dallas in the regular season?
No. But they're going to have to learn. This was an experimental game for Mike D'Antoni. All the cross matchups, the different ideas of what they're going to try to use. Will Boris Diaw be able to guard Dirk Nowitzki? That has not been the case at all, as Boris has come up with a very quiet 2-point, 0 rebound performance tonight. And they will get one more opportunity. This game's not over yet. They get one more opportunity April 1st, this Sunday afternoon, and NBA Sunday on ABC. You'll see that game in Phoenix. But John, do you think it matters if the Suns get swept by the Mavs this season? Sotomayor, the outside hoop?
Yeah, I think so, especially the way it's happened. This is exactly the same thing that happened in Game 6 of their playoffs last year. 17-point lead for the Phoenix Suns, and they go on to lose that game. They were in complete control here tonight. And now you're talking about Dallas Mavericks winning 14 of the last 22 matchups. And I think there's something psychological there. They need to beat this team.
Fans unhappy that no foul was called as Jop hit the deck. But remember, it's only a 14-point lead, and that only is amplified when it's Phoenix on the trailing end. They can come back quick. Bell hits a 2, it's a dozen.
The rebound numbers have been the story, and Phoenix will not beat Dallas. Phoenix will not beat San Antonio, and maybe not Utah unless they become a better rebounding team.
Guys, we've been so pumped up about these two teams, as well we should, but there is that other team in Texas that is slowly creeping their way up.
Stackhouse up top, fakes it. Now talking about Houston here.
Let's not forget about the San Antonio Spurs.
Not so slowly. They have the only team to be undefeated since the All-Star break.
Stackhouse is 23. There's the switch to get Nowitzki guarding Nash. Jop came over for defensive deterrence. 5 to shoot. So quick how he gets up. The quick dribble left and get up.
How many guys would you see right there? There's 3 on the clock and they're just going to jack the ball. He takes his time, steps it back, gets any shot he wants at any time on the clock.
Perfect execution, and the decision-making by Steve Nash, flawless.
I would say high basketball IQ, but that phrase has been banned by the Announcers Association. It's overused. Offensive foul called on the Mavericks. There are the best records since the All-Star break. The Spurs are rolling. The Spurs, Suns, and Mavericks have only combined for 29-2 since the break.
The Bulls starting to play better basketball, realizing that their window is right now. How many more years is Ben Wallace going to be able to play at a reasonably high level?
What did he take? 73 shots last night, John?
21 shots for Ben Wallace last night. I got to see that tape.
See if they can get it to 10 or 9. Nash finds Stoudemire inside. A 10-point game. Avery Johnson says, stop it right here. 10-point Phoenix deficit.
When Mark Cuban was on the court yelling at the referee, this is a traveling violation. Did Steve Nash come down before he threw it off?
It was his 11th assist. It's a 10-point game. Thanks, Fred. Detroit won their first 3 on the West Coast. They go to Phoenix Friday night. This game is tightening here. Avery Johnson has only coached 163 NBA games, but he knows what he saw in the first quarter.
We never won a game since I've been coaching in the first quarter.
Way to go, Kane.
Never.
And after the first quarter was the turnaround, John, that has been part of 73 Maverick points in the second and third.
You've got to talk about defense with the Phoenix Suns. Everyone talks that they don't play defense well enough to win a championship. And I agree, you have to address that. 73 points in 24 minutes is just not going to get it done.
And defense leads to great rebounding, and there's where they've really fallen apart tonight. The Mavericks have taken 26 shots in the second half. They've missed 11 of them. They've got 7 offensive rebounds.
Well, there they come up with a shot clock violation, and Barbosa's defense on Stackhouse started it, and then it got sloppy as Chop got it on the floor. So Avery Johnson's team turns it over, and now Phoenix get it down to 8 or 7, and certainly within striking distance. These teams had 2 wonderful 6-game playoff series the last 2 years. Could be on pace for a 3rd one this year. San Antonio, I have a lot to say about that. Diaz, it is an 8-point game.
Suns are 5 for 5 in this quarter alone. Steve Nash got 2 assists, but only 1 field goal in this quarter for Steve.
10-3 here in the quarter for Phoenix. The double on Nowitzki, Terry game free. That's what Avery Johnson talked to us about before the game. Recognition of that double and get better passing out of it. Stackhouse leads the Mavericks with 23 tonight. Dirk has 22. Diaz going to attack it. Nowitzki leads Stoudemire through. Remember, Amari Stoudemire, before his injury 2 years ago, started extending his range on his jump shot, even made some threes at the end of the year. Now he's showing some of that range as he gets fully in the flow this year.
Phoenix has the best starting front court in all the NBA. Yet they have been badly outplayed tonight by the Mavericks front court.
Size advantage, Nowitzki, never great with his back to the basket, has improved over the last 2 years, and there draws the foul.
Whatever happened to that rule that you were not allowed to just back down forever?
Well, you get 5 seconds. I think he was at about 4.5 there, bro.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, it's in slow motion.
It's slow motion. 8 to shoot for Terry.
Sounds like the reverb I have on my stereo system at home.
Nowitzki, good find of JT for 3. Jason Terry told us one of the reasons he thinks Dirk Nowitzki is the MVP this year. His stats are better in every category except for points, but the points are down because his assists are up, and that was a perfect example of the last 2 trips as he's teed it up.
Last year, he takes that fadeaway with 2 guys on him, but this time he finds Terry, who knocks it down.
Oh, how did Nash get Stoudemire, and how did Stoudemire finish? Chance for the 3-point play.
I'm beginning to think that this is by design because he's done it 6 or 7 times tonight, driving into the paint, falling down, almost traveling, finding Amari Stoudemire every single time. And the way this guy can finish, that's a great option.
Are there any other players in the league that finish the way Amari does in the paint, that those difficult little 4-foot? Other players in the league that finish the way Amari does in the paint, that those difficult little 4-footers. Duncan does a great job of it, but I don't think he's at the level of just sheer force and power of Amari Stoudemire in that 4 to 6 foot range.
10 of 11 from the field, 6 of 7 from the line, 26 points, 5 rebounds, Amari has had moments during the year when he's looked like that monster in the San Antonio playoff series of 2 years ago.
Well, guys, we know an 8-point lead to the Phoenix Suns can be erased. A moment as Nowitzki.
Well, you have to have weak side rotation. Beautiful pass by Nash.
Barbosa couldn't handle it. Turned over. Dallas ball. Here is Nowitzki turning the corner.
I have never seen him throw a dunk down this hard. That's an MVP dunk. I want the MVP. I want an NBA championship, Bill.
Why has Sean Marion been sitting on the bench for so long? He only has 3 fouls. He leads their team in minutes played.
Terry got around to the rack. Couldn't finish. Stoudemire was there again. Stackhouse forces the steal. He stepped back for the 3. Thought he teed up Dampier, but he turned it over. Nash, DL, Barbosa. Nash got the rebound. 5 for Steve.
That's an MVP rebound, Bill.
Phoenix is in trouble right now. Oh, offensive foul, Steve Nash. He tries to set the screen here, lowers that shoulder, blindsides Josh Howard.
Well, how about this guy, though? Offensive rebound there. This time he's going to set a pick. I mean, there's nothing that Steve Nash won't do to help his team win.
So the Suns, after their great start to this 4th quarter, turned it over on their last 3 trips. Dallas can get the lead back to a dozen halfway through the final frame. Sports Center follows us.
Steve Nash, untenable matchup here with Josh Howard, who just jumps in the air. Now there's the rebound, finally.
Sean Marion, 11th in the league in rebounds, averages 10 a game, has 8. Nash all the way, and 1.
The ability to hang in the air and wait. I don't think he jumps so high to hang. I think he just tucks his legs up underneath him.
Great use of his body to draw the contact from Josh Howard. Nash able to finish, and the Suns are still alive.
With Lisa Salters, Bill Walton, John Barry, Mike Tirico. Terrific game. Phoenix is a free throw coming. Dallas leads by 8. The MVPs have shown it here in the 4th.
Dirk Nowitzki rolling right now, drawing double teams and finding his teammate Jason Terry wide open and on fire himself. Terry gives it right back to Dirk, who never stops moving, and then throws it down. He's got 24 and 9, 4 assists for Dirk as well.
Well, Steve Nash keeping his team alive. Look at him. He's like surveying. He's like a digital camera. Camera 1, camera 2. Look this way, look that way. I know Amari Stoudemire's down there, and he drops it off. This guy is unbelievable with the feel he has of the game of basketball.
He's averaging a career high 11.6 assists. He has a dozen here tonight. As you look at the comparison of these 2 MVP candidates, Steve has a chance to lead the league in assists for 3 consecutive years. He'd be the 5th man to do that. And he's averaging more assists than anybody in the league since John Stockton averaged just over 12 years ago. The lead is 7 with 5.5 to go.
And Steve Nash just broke Oscar Robertson's record for most assists in the first 3 years on a new team. And that is quite an impressive deal if you can beat Oscar Robertson at anything.
His first 3 years with Cincinnati. 3 to shoot. Here is Dirk. Sees the double. Terry a 3. Nowitzki couldn't squeeze the rebound, and this will belong to Phoenix. It does. Chance to make it a 5 or a 4-point game.
Both these teams playing the pick and roll the same way. Switching. They're just switching every single pick and roll. That time, great defense by Phoenix because Barbosa was up on Nowitzki as soon as he caught the basketball.
This is great. See Josh Howard linked to the court against Steve Nash. And now the turnover.
Steve said Dirk hit him on the arm. It wasn't called. Howard has no other green shirts, and they'll reset it with Terry, the scoring point guard.
Dirk Nowitzki recognized the double team, took 2 dribbles away from it, found Stackhouse across the court. Again, that's the improvement that we've seen from Dirk Nowitzki this season.
But also the ability of Andrew Johnson to convince Jerry Stackhouse to become more of a team player and realize his value off the bench in limited minutes.
Barbosa playing pick and rolls, draws the foul. Stackhouse twice had scored 23 this season. This gives him a season high, 26.
You see there, Dirk takes 2 dribbles away from the double team, forces the double teamer to get off of him. Nice cross-court pass to Jerry Stackhouse, who's absolutely on fire from the three-point line tonight.
The foul was on Dampier, his third. Team fouls for the quarter. Dallas has committed 3, Phoenix 2. In terms of personal fouls, no one has 5. Greg Buckner for Dallas has 4. So does Boris Diaw for the Suns. It's a 9-point game with 4:17 to go.
Barbosa at the line. His season really turned around January 2nd. They had lost a big game here, December 28th at Dallas, which started their 17-game winning streak. But it was a game in Chicago that Barbosa, who is notorious for missing game-winning layups, he actually hit a really big shot that D'Antoni drew up for him. And ever since then, he's just been absolutely on fire.
I know you two know this, but San Antonio Spurs drafted him and sent him to Phoenix for some cash. You imagine him on the San Antonio Spurs as Marion gets the foul there on Nowitzki. How about that small lineup? Tony Parker, Leandro Barbosa, and Ginobili as your wing player. And of course, Brent Vera, possibly the quickest guy in the league, other than Leandro.
Each team now 3 team fouls after Sean Marion picked up his 4th on that attempted double. 10 to shoot for Dallas. Trying to continue a franchise record. 24 to ruin home. And Stackhouse continues his fabulous night.
Dirk has 6 assists now. Yep. Just playing absolutely flawless basketball. The leadership, the mental toughness, the growth of his game, finding who's got the hot hand, and the salute for other people's success.
Free throw missed by Stackhouse. Nowitzki's season high is 8 assists. Phoenix going to have to score quickly. Barbosa does just that.
Not a bad guy to do that for you there, Mike. Before you could even say it, he was laying it in.
Back to this matchup that they have looked at a lot when these teams have played the last 2 years. Stackhouse backing Barbosa. Howard 3. Missed it. Deflected out to Nash. Taking the 6 or 5 here as we get close to 3 minutes.
D'Antoni's had to take Boris Diaw just out of the game. We can only hope that Boris's back is all right.
Alan Stackhouse will be the 4th on the team. 3-4 to go. Boris missed 9 games with a bad back. Has come back for the last couple. Man, and won the most improved player in the league last year. Timeout Phoenix coming up here.
Diaw had a magnificent game Monday night against Houston, but it has been nowhere near that player since then.
Buckle up, 3:14 to go. Suns down 8.
Game, but now a 5-point game with just under a minute to go, because I'm counting these two.
I'm amazed how low Steve has dropped in the league standing. He's now 10th in the league in free throw percentage at 88%.
Oh, that's just hard.
No, it's not, but it's amazing how many great free throw shooters there are.
Kyle Korver leads the league at 93%. 5-point game, 57 seconds to go. No fouls to give. Obviously, Phoenix doesn't want to here. Dallas doesn't have one either.
Must stop right here, guys. Gotta have a stop or this game is all she wrote.
Can Steve Nash do anything to contain Jason Terry out in front?
Involved in pick and roll, he might end up with Nowitzki here. 5 to shoot. Terry says, get away. I got Sean Marion. I got 3. In and out. Rebound by Nowitzki. And the offensive rebounding storyline of the night continues in that key possession.
That's the game right there. Offensive rebounding. Alvin Gentry of the Phoenix Suns said that was the #1 concern in this game. And the Dallas Mavericks have just absolutely manhandled the Phoenix Suns on the boards.
We've seen teams for years try to just switch that casual interchange between Jason Terry and Dirk Nowitzki. It cost Phoenix dearly on that possession.
22 offensive rebounds for Dallas. As Nowitzki comes to the line here, I'm sure this sellout crowd will go into the MVP chant for Dirk, who has 25, 12 boards, and 6 assists tonight. Rebound, Stoudemire.
Speaking of the MVP chant, the Mavericks hand out the MVP T-shirts to everybody, right? During Mike D'Antoni's press conference before the game, at least 6 of the media members were wearing Dirk Nowitzki MVP T-shirts. Mike was looking at him saying, what's going on here? I thought you were the objective media here.
4-point game. Josh Howard gets fouled. It's so hard to foul either one of these teams. They are the top 2 free throw shooting teams in the league, right at 80%. Dallas is 80.7. Phoenix is 80.6. And Howard shoots him at 81%. He's improved to 73% career free throw shooting.
Like since Gary Boren was hired as the free throw coach here, the Mavericks have finished in the top 6 in the league each season in free throw shooting, including 4 first-place finishes.
Suns only have 1 timeout left. It's a 4-point game. Dallas still can stop it twice, so let's see how D'Antoni will play it here.
I'd push here. That's the easiest time to get a 3. You're going up the floor. Push it up there right now. Steve Nash, pull up and knock one down.
Got to secure the rebound, and offensive rebounds have been the key for Dallas tonight.
Yeah, they have 22 offensive rebounds. Dallas has 21 total defensive
Here's
rebounds.
the make. Here's Nash. Got to take three. Got foul shooting the 3 by Howard. So a chance to make it a 2-point game with 14.4. No timeouts left. And Avery says, just give me the clipboard here. I got to start drawing up something.
I can guarantee that Avery Johnson screamed, no foul. Don't foul the 3-point shooter 20 times as Steve Nash brought that ball up the floor. And what does Josh Howard do? Leave his feet. And this savvy Steve Nash jumps into him. And he could make this a 2-point game.
Six and 6 at the line. 25 points, 14 assists, 7 rebounds for Steve here tonight.
I don't think he played particularly that great tonight. And yet his numbers are 25 and 14.
And a season high 7 rebounds.
The first 14, 15 minutes of the game, he was fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Steve Nash has scored 7 points in the last 43 seconds. All the things we've been through. It's a 1-possession game. We got Neil Everett, Scott Van Pelt settling in. Sports Center available in high definition next. Post-game coverage from here in Dallas. Dickie V sets the table for Thursday's NCAA games. And Pete Rose and betting on the Reds back in the news one more time. There are no fouls to give either way. Each team has a timeout. Dallas will advance it to the front court, 28 feet away here in this 2-point game. Both teams great free throw shooting teams.
Well, who do you go to here if you're the Dallas Mavericks, Bill?
You inbound the ball to Dirk Nowitzki. You throw it in high. You got a good inbounder. Finally, they put Amari Stoudemire over to pressure that inbound pass. Now Dirk Nowitzki.
Don't put it down, Dirk.
Just come to a stop. He needed to put that down to regain his balance.
Did you talk to him earlier? Or
no, he was stumbling out of bounds there. He was going to get called for a traveling violation.
Barbosa was hanging right around. That was a dangerous play. Now, if he makes 2, Phoenix in a bit of trouble. But 1, and we got ourselves a 1-possession game. And I've seen Steve Nash do it before.
3rd in the league, though, Dirk Nowitzki at free throw percentage.
As you put the kibosh on him again.
Do you want to go for the 3, or do you want the quick 2? Are you going to take a timeout to talk about it here? I mean, let's watch what happens on the second free throw. Then Phoenix will have a decision to make. Got to get the rebound. If he misses, he makes it.
They're going.
Now going to take
They're going.
which they have left. So here we go.
You have to go for
tie, and it's Nash. He takes the 3 for the tie. It's short. They might get another chance. Marion, here's Nash, another 3. Oh! Steve Nash! Tied at 111. Oh, man!
Dallas should have grabbed Sean Marion immediately on his long rebound and put him in a free throw shooting situation.
Now, when you see this replay, check out the pick. This is Nash's first where he's going to miss. Great offensive rebound, Sean Marion. Now check out this pick on Buckner. Raja Bell throws Buckner out of the way. An official can't make that call at that stage of the game. Great, smart play by Raja Bell to free up Nash for the second attempt.
2 years ago, game 6 in the playoffs. Steve Nash makes that 3-pointer where they just ran away from him in transition defense.
And then the game went to overtime, and Phoenix won that game to win the series, that Western Conference semifinal between these teams. Steve Nash has scored 10 points in the last 55 seconds, and now it might be in the hands of his best buddy, Dirk Nowitzki, who missed the key free throw a moment ago. But in the second meeting between these teams, December 28th, in this building, it was Dirk inside of a couple of seconds, hitting what proved to be the game-winning shot in a 101-99 game. But he left the door open after that missed free throw on the front end of these two just a moment ago.
Didn't I see one of these last June down in Miami? I thought in a crucial game 3.
You go right back to it.
But ironically, that defensive stance by Sean Marion on December 28th, he played him the same way. Leaves him on opening to his left. That just feeds right into Dirk's strengths. Inexplicable defense.
All right, gotta wait for Nash to get rid of his towels over there. He's coming up. It's Stackhouse, Dampier, Nowitzki, Howard, and Terry.
Watch a direct pass. I'm sorry, Mike. A direct pass into Jerry Stackhouse here. He's got Leandro Barbosa on him. Let's see what they do.
Screen the screener. Have Stackhouse set a screen for Jason Terry along the baseline and then have him curl up to the top behind the double of Dampier and Dirk Nowitzki.
All the movement here, the matchups. Dallas must get it in. They do not have a timeout. 2.7. Here go the Mavs for the win. It's Nowitzki. This is for the win. It is! No good! And the game goes on to overtime.
And shouldn't it? Unbelievable.
We can only be thankful.
Absolutely.
For going to overtime. More Phoenix-Dallas basketball.
The Phoenix Suns erase a huge deficit in the fourth quarter to come back. The chance for Nowitzki comes up short. It was a 10-3 run in the final 55 seconds. And the best show that the NBA can give you is going to give you some more. It's a great week for basketball, isn't it? Overtime from Dallas between the two best in the league right after this. Absolutely, Scotty and Neil, we look forward to seeing you guys. This is a pretty good appetizer for those of you who are going to be unproductive at work tomorrow and Friday. Look at the score by quarters. Phoenix hung up at 32 in the first. Dallas took 35 and 38 in the second and third. And Phoenix comes back with a little 35 spot in the fourth.
Amazing swings. Yeah, it's not been a game where both teams have played well at the same time. And the crowd is stunned. They thought this thing was over with 6 or 7 minutes to go and a seemingly insurmountable lead. But Steve Nash, what a phenomenal player.
Suns have done overtime a lot. This is their 7th, only the second for the Mavericks. They won their only other one. The only player with 5 personal fouls for Dallas is Eric Dampier. For Phoenix, Leandro Barbosa.
Mavericks have been the best all season long at winning the close games. They're in such fantastic physical condition. So many different weapons. It's like great defense, and they knock down their free throws.
Stackhouse, who has a season high, missed it. Devin Harris has been out for the Mavericks since the second quarter. He took a James Jones forearm across his head, had a neck injury, walked off under his own power. One of the key guys in the Mavs rotation has not played at all in the second half. Amari Stoudemire has been just unbelievable. He's 12 of 13 for the field. He has 30 points here tonight.
This is what they need more from Amari Stoudemire. The ability to get the ball isolated and just go one-on-one. So it's not just Steve Nash every time. Dampier can't finish.
Wanted the over-the-back call. James Jones, who checked in the game at the start of OT. It didn't come. Stoudemire's hit 10 in a row. Nash feeds him again. He goes right at Dirk. That's 11 consecutive field goals for Amari Stoudemire. 32 points tonight.
Oh, wow.
What a show, boys. What a show.
This is a 14-3 run by Phoenix over the back end of regulation and on into overtime. Somebody needs to make one. Terry does it.
Everybody looks just exhausted. Not just physically.
Back to the rack for 2. Jerry Stackhouse adds to his season-high total, a 30-point game for Jerry.
And then Josh Howard right up in Steve Nash's face, not allowing him to get a good run at it.
Nash gets right to the rim. 31 for Steve.
Did I say he's not playing that well tonight? Go ahead and knock me upside the head, guys.
You're doing fine, John.
Oh, man. This guy is unbelievable.
Nowitzki left free. Finally gets one back. He missed an open shot earlier, missed a free throw that would have made it very tough for Phoenix. 2-point lead.
I'd come back to a Stoudemire right here. He's the one with the hot hand, still have enough freshness in his game.
Handstand here, hangs in the air, bangs it home. He has made 12 consecutive field goals. 34 points.
And we're talking very close to the record, which in one game is 18 by Wilt Chamberlain.
Jason Terry wears 5 pairs of socks every game.
Great defense, James Jones. Who's running with Steve Nash?
No one. Secondary gets to the elbow. Phoenix is in all 4 field goals in overtime. Amari wants it.
Elbow.
Yeah.
Elbow. Yeah. Good call.
Third foul on Stoudemire.
It's a tough call. You're taught as a big man to, as you bring it in, both hands on the ball. That is a very tough call against Amari Stoudemire.
I mentioned the great start to overtime for the Suns. Steve Nash has put on a show. He has 31, 14 assists and 7 boards. Nowitzki matching him with 28, 12 boards and 6 assists. But Amari Stoudemire is stealing the story tonight. 34 points, a dozen consecutive field goals. Phoenix leads by 4. Dallas has 2 timeouts left here in overtime. Phoenix 3. It's the Suns by 4. Steve Nash brought the Suns back at the end of the 4th.
Well, in regulation, really, the Dallas Mavericks committing some silly fouls. 2 fouls there, 93 feet away from the basket. Now Josh Howard jumps into Steve Nash for 3 free throws. He makes all those for 5. And then, of course, we get the second chance 3-point attempt that Nash is able to knock down for 8 points in the final 55 seconds.
He scored the last 10 points in the 4th quarter, has a hoop here in overtime. Part of this lead. Let's jump back to the big picture here, guys. If the Suns win this game, they're within 3 of Dallas in the loss column. Dallas goes out to Phoenix in 2.5 weeks at NBA Sunday on ABC. If they can win that game, they need to make up 2 games elsewhere in the last 14. Tough, but possible. So this is a huge game, I think, for Phoenix if they want to be the 1 seed. And when you're out of that 2-3, you don't have to play either Phoenix, Dallas, or San Antonio in the 2nd round if seeds hold up. Stackhouse a miss. Stoudemire the rebound.
Dallas has gone away from the structure that Avery Johnson has to their offense. Where has been the Dirk Nowitzki mid-post up, draw the double team, and kick it to somebody wide open?
It's almost the isolation game as they kill clock is taking them out of flow. Stoudemire at the rim. He'll get some free throws.
The easiest shot of the night for Amari.
Bill, when Amari had that run in the playoff series against San Antonio, they lost that series.
2 years
ago. Before that, 2 years ago against Dallas before that. You were just had your breath taken away watching a guy who, in your mind, was redefining the way big men play. After the microfracture surgery, nobody was sure how dominant he'd be when he came back, even earlier this year. Are you surprised to see him this good at this point?
No. That's how talented he is. And the medical advances that are taking place literally moment by moment throughout the world has changed everything for a guy like Amari Stoudemire. He's the youngest guy that ever had it. And his ability to work so hard to get all the way back, combined with the luck and the fortune of playing with Steve Nash, has made him just such a remarkable force.
Mega trip, down 5, 80 seconds left. Sure. Marion's defense was good here. The switch, he's got Terry. It's only 2 to shoot. That's off Terry. What a job by Sean Marion, who's never made an all-defensive team in the NBA, yet he's right up there in all those defensive stats. Rebounds, steals, and blocks.
Did you just say Sean Marion has never made an all-defensive team in the NBA? That is shocking. Somebody needs to rectify that travesty.
Final minute. Double comes. How will Stoudemire pass out of it? With an offensive foul drawn by the 12-year veteran, Jerry Stackhouse. Dallas will take timeout. Stoudemire has to be real careful, and he's held his anger very well here.
This is a very tough call. 2 of them in a row against Amari Stoudemire. Stackhouse just runs right into his elbow. Against Amari Stoudemire. Stackhouse just runs right into his elbow.
If you weren't with us earlier, he is just a couple of technicals away from the automatic suspension that would get drawn. What jumps out at you? So much has happened tonight. What has jumped out from the way Phoenix has come back in this fourth quarter?
Well, I think it was a lack of execution by Dallas. As Bill said, they're a great close game team, 14-2 in 5 points or less games. And tonight, just silly fouls, an inability to make free throws. They're a great free throw shooting team. And Phoenix, you got to take your hat off. I mean, they never gave up. Steve Nash was unbelievable.
The resiliency of Steve Nash, who seemed totally out of the game, to get total control back. Amari Stoudemire's brilliance and the Western Conference standings here. These three teams, Dallas, Phoenix, and San Antonio. Mike, you said that Utah lost tonight in Orlando.
In Orlando. They've lost in Miami and Orlando back-to-back.
But these three teams are just playing fantastic atop the Western Conference. Where's the mental toughness, though, for Dallas, which has been their trademark since they fell apart in the finals last year?
Terry spinning at Nash, makes the hoop. It is a one-possession game. Almost a steal by the veteran Buckner.
Buckner's had a major role for Dallas' success tonight.
This stunned sellout crowd trying to help the Mavs back to a stop here to get a one-possession game. Here go the MVP candidates, head-to-head, one-on-one. Nash shaking Nowitzki, taking it in, couldn't get the English on it. It's 5-on-4 if they push.
If you're Phoenix, take a foul here.
A three can tie. Stackhouse at the line, lost his dribble. The shot clock is off. Nowitzki to Stack, to Terry. Now they may have to take a three.
Now just grab him right now, Steve Nash.
Terry takes the three. Takes the three! Oh, man! How about Phoenix?
Oh, my gosh.
Game tied, 120. Phoenix will have the ball in the front court. Jason Terry has scored 5 straight points in 43 seconds.
His confidence level against Steve Nash. He just doesn't have any sense of fear whatsoever that Nash can compete with him in a one-on-one isolated matchup.
Guys, that's the second time a team has come down without calling timeout and getting a three. I've always agreed with that. Your defense is not able to get set. They know you need a three. You call a timeout. They gather themselves. When you do that and you come without the timeout, I just think that gives you a much better opportunity to get a better three-point look.
Tons of time here for Phoenix. Who's going to inbound the ball? Boris Diaw would be perfect, but he's a non-factor. He won't even be in there. Get the ball somehow to Steve Nash and try to have him drive, or even an isolation for Amari Stoudemire for the game winner.
Amari Stoudemire, 12 field goals in a row. Why not go to him? We'll see what the matchups are. He can take somebody smaller down low. If he gets somebody bigger, he takes him out on the court and he's able to get to the basket.
John Raja Bell is also very effective in these clutch situations.
But he hasn't shot the ball in about 3 hours. It's been Stoudemire and Nash. I don't remember another guy taking a shot.
4 fouls get you in the bonus in overtime, but those fouls in the last 2 minutes still apply. That's why Dallas doesn't have a foul to give, so that option is away here. Phoenix with 4.9 to go will have it in the front court.
They really don't have a good inbound passer on this Phoenix squad right now. I mean, that is Boris Diaw's role. So I would put tons of pressure all over whoever will have that sacred responsibility. They're going to give it to Raja Bell, which almost takes him out of a shooting situation.
Stackhouse, Buckner, Terry, Nowitzki, and Howard will defend it. It is Bell, Barbosa, Marion, Nash, and Stoudemire. Mike D'Antoni has a 20. He's going to take it here with 4.9 to go.
They've heard your volume and are taking a 20-second timeout. 20-second timeout, Phoenix.
We say this, these teams give us a great game, and I'll go back to the point we alluded to in the first half. This might not be the best team in the NBA West on the floor right now because of what San Antonio has been doing with their win streak extended out now to 13 games, 11-0 since the All-Star break. But these two are pretty darn good.
Oh, man, this is special.
We told you coming in, we haven't had two teams this good meet this late in the season in 35 years. The Lakers, part of that 33 consecutive win season, beating Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and the Bucks. All right, no personnel changes. Marion to trigger. The Suns go for the win in overtime. It's Barbosa to the rack. He takes it. No good. Double overtime.
You go away from Steve Nash with the game that means the season, means everything on the line. An isolation for Leandro Barbosa.
Let's get a look at this one. That sends us to double OT. As Barbosa got in.
No question that he was putting that ball up from the moment Sean Marion gave it to him.
That's an interesting point, Bill. Not going to Nash there at the end. So we'll step out as the game goes to double overtime here in Dallas. Well, Scotty, we've just come past midnight on the East Coast, so it is Thursday somewhere. So it is time for double overtime here in Dallas. Sitting courtside with John Barry and Bill Walton. I'm Mike Tirico. Lisa Salters on the sideline. A 5-point deficit erased by Dallas, just like Phoenix erased a big deficit at the end of regulation to send us to the first overtime.
Mike, fatigue and foul trouble a major issue here. Boris Diaw has not played well or effectively tonight throughout any part of the game. Most likely we won't see him. Dallas, the much deeper team, has been changing players throughout. Stackhouse has made a major contribution. Buckner has been in and out, and Josh Howard and Dirk Nowitzki, they've had certainly enough rest to be contributive here in the second overtime.
Devin Harris hurt. He's out. No Devin George tonight. Two players with 5 fouls. One of them, Dampier, who gets the putback, and Dallas leads by 2.
Yeoman work on the offensive glass for Eric Dampier, who tonight has 9 offensive, or maybe 10 offensive rebounds if they give him 2 on that one. He does not have a single defensive rebound.
Wow. Bizarre night.
They did give him 2. He does have 10 offensive rebounds.
Back it out, Nash on Nowitzki. Goes left on him. Stoudemire's got to shoot quick. Got it off in time. Missed it. Missed the putback. The third try is good. Let's see. They have a foul underneath him there. We can't hear the whistle.
I think it was on the ground, Mike.
It's like a rock and roll show here. The fans have not sat down.
That's Josh Howard's 6th. It's on Howard. He has fouled out of the game.
Not sat down.
That's Josh Howard's 6th. It's on Howard. He has fouled out of the game.
And that's critical because he has been instrumental in slowing down Steve Nash, if you can call Steve being slowed down.
So Howard fouls out for the 2nd time this season. Only the 8th Maverick to foul out of a game. He leaves with 19 points. And again, because of the absence of Devin Harris injured tonight and Devin George, this usually deep Dallas team affected. Greg Buckner's here. James Jones, without his dribble, hands it to Nash, finds Stoudemire, diving down the lane for field goal 15 and points 36 and 37.
Oh, man, what a pass. Steve Nash.
Remember the other double overtime game that they had against New Jersey when Steve went, what, 42 and 42. 42, and how many assists in that game? 19 or 20?
Over 20. Nowitzki missed it. Dampier, another offensive rebound, a dozen.
Amari Stoudemire cannot get this guy off the glass. There's Dampier, huge night.
He's 11, not 12. I beg your pardon on the offensive rebounds. They want Dirk to take Sean Marion. Spins him left, and Marion gets the block. Oh, he's lost the pass. And Dampier got to the ground to keep it alive. Terry, offensive foul is called.
Oh, God. John, I'm going to let you handle the offensive fouls.
Steve Nash,
he dove.
Fighting for the ball on the ground, loses to Nowitzki, and then he gets up and has the presence of mind to get his feet set, take a charge. What is it? This guy needs to do some magic tricks out here or something.
The foul is on Jason Terry. It's his 4th. The bounce to Stoudemire, soaring, dunking, and a foul. Amari Stoudemire is putting on an absolute clinic here tonight. 39 points.
This play where he jumps away from the basket. He jumps away and still throws it down. That's how remarkable he is.
And Bill, that was Dampier's sixth, so now a second starter is fouled out.
Like these last plays by Steve Nash, setting up everybody that they're finishing. These were the games, the same plays on December 28th that Amari, Boris, and Sean Marion all just dropped the ball and prevented the Suns from winning that game.
16 of 19, guys? Are you kidding me?
Missed the free throw. Stays at 39. You see the foul story, and add to that, Devin Harris out with injury. Devin George not available tonight because of his recurring knee injury. Nice flash by Stackhouse. Terry was covered. 5 to shoot. JT lost his footing out of bounds off the Mavericks.
For as great as Amari's been offensively, he's been equally as bad on the defensive glass. Allowing Eric Dampier 11 offensive rebounds is unacceptable, Bill.
John, Amari, as terrific as he is not a good natural rebound. He's really going to have to work on that.
Stackhouse comes over for the hard foul. They'll put Amari on the line where he is 7 of 10. We have a lot of points here tonight, guys. 3 in the 30s. Nowitzki 2 away. Season high for Stackhouse. Nash and Stoudemire both have 40-point games this year.
Mavericks are undefeated this year when one of their players gets 30 or more points.
Bill, let me ask you a question. Why wouldn't you double Steve Nash on the pick and roll?
Why would you double him? I think is a more important question, because the double team doesn't really affect him. You look at the great passers in basketball history. None of them are affected by that double team guy who are coming. They want that double team. I always thought it was just a horrible idea to try to double team Magic or Bird or Kareem or any of the great passers. Pete Maravich. Why? Because they're just going to be able to throw the ball right by that defense.
Amari is 41, his 9th career 40-point game. He scored 13 of those 41 in these 2 overtimes. Dallas is down 2 possessions again. This overtime a lot like the first. Dirk didn't like the 3. Drove for the 2. Austin Crozier just came in and couldn't secure the rebound. Raja Bell does.
Amari Stoudemire's level of physical fitness, the way he just keeps pursuing the ball. Technical foul, Dirk Nowitzki.
Michael Smith, the 14-year veteran official, calls a T on Nowitzki for his complaining on the way down.
Dirk should just walk away. The call's been made. There's nothing you can do about it right now.
Nash adds the T. But just like the first overtime, Phoenix has a 5-point lead. Here is Dirk starting from the backcourt.
And the referee does a good job, Michael Smith. He waits until the play comes to a grinding halt before he whistles that technical, not to deny Phoenix a fast break opportunity.
It's a 7-0 Phoenix run. You're afraid to say any hoop could decide it, but this one may put a lock on it. Nash denied inside. It was Terry, I believe, defensively.
Wow.
Stack for 3.
Oh, my God. This is unbelievable.
Now it's Jason Terry who's got Steve Nash. Doesn't have the size, but Avery Johnson is utilized perfectly tonight.
Sees Crozier, and now a double. Somebody's free.
Steve picked up the dribble in the paint. Very dangerous.
3 to shoot at the elbow. A rebound by Marion, who puts it back in, and Avery Johnson calls for a timeout. It looked like Amari Stoudemire was guilty of an offensive foul in the lane, but it's been so hard to call every single thing that's happened here. Here are the last 2 hoops. Stack the 3 to get to 33, and then Marion on the putback inside. They just got tied up. Stackhouse had lost his balance. That was not a bad call. Dallas trails by 4. A lot has happened since these teams met for the first time, with Dallas 0-4 at that point, Phoenix 1-4. They've played some great games in between. This one has been special. end of the game. Steve Nash scoring the final 10 of regulation for Phoenix. Missed the three, but what a job by who else? Sean Marion to get the rebound. Re-tee Steve for three. The game went to a first overtime. Dallas trailed by 5, came storming back, and Jason Terry, the man who replaced Nash, is the point guard here in Dallas. Knocked down the three to lock the game after a Phoenix miss at the end of OT1. Has us in the second overtime where Dallas has gotten on the officials, has lost a bit of its composure, trails by 4 with 71 seconds to go.
A major problem for Avery Johnson and his Mavericks are that his two defensive stalwarts against Stoudemire and Nash are both fouled out of the game. Josh Howard and Dan Pierre. Barbosa has 5 fouls for Mike D'Antoni's Suns.
The next shot by Dallas will be their 103rd shot of the night. That foul is called on Barbosa. He has fouled out.
Well, James Jones now up off the bench. Brilliant first half for James Jones when the Suns were on their game.
Barbosa had 17 tonight, 7 of 10 at the line. 14 to shoot for the Mavs. Raja Bell has played 52 minutes, Jason Terry 54, Dirk Nowitzki 56 minutes played here tonight. Dirk right at Marion, got it back. It's got it. 30 for Nowitzki.
I guarantee he's never practiced that shot.
No.
Drive left, get it stripped, get it blocked, get it back, and shoot a fadeaway 15-foot net.
Back over, Crozier missed it. Rebound to Nowitzki, lost it out of bounds. And they say it was off of Phoenix. 20-second timeout taken by Avery Johnson. 35.2 left. Dirk has to be so careful. He already has a technical.
What's he mad at? It's their ball.
No, he thought he got fouled. Yeah, he thought he got hit on that.
Here is the hoop.
Sean Marion does a wonderful job of poking that ball away, and then as Dirk just gets it falling away instantly into his rhythm. The degree of difficulty of his shots, which always end up with the perfect flick of the wrist.
And wanted the foul call there. Playing with that fire that we saw more of in the playoffs last year, leading this Dallas team to the Western Conference Championship.
Dallas can make some headway here with Austin Crozier. Amari Stoudemire is starting him. Amari will not have the respect for Crozier that Crozier commands. And so he will collapse, he will float, he will roll, Amari will. And then if you drive the ball right at Stoudemire, Crozier's going to have a wide open shot.
And Crozier has not taken a shot since the first half, I believe.
Well, I like what he's done on the pick and roll with Steve Nash. He's played it correctly. He's gotten up and taken the jump shot away from Steve Nash and forced him into difficult shots.
Crozier hasn't taken shots at all tonight. Well, the Mavs try to go 2 for 1, get the best shot. Nash, did he knock it off Terry? He did! Steve Nash makes the defensive play. The ball belongs to the Suns with 31 to go.
Steve Nash, who has played a ton of minutes here, able to jump out of the way.
Because if that hits Steve again, standing out of bounds, it's off him.
He's a ballerina as well, guys.
Could have been a professional in a lot of different sports.
6 seconds difference, game and shot clock. Nash orchestrating, directing. Mavs not fouling here. James Jones for the free three. Rebound Dirk. They'll keep it on the floor. Here we go again. A tie or a win. Nowitzki at the elbow takes it. No! That's the rebound! And Phoenix survives a double overtime regular season classic. And the Phoenix Suns are within 3 of the loss column, chasing the Dallas Mavericks for best record in the NBA, and the Mavericks have lost back-to-back games for the first time since they opened the season 0-4.
And how does this affect the MVP race? Dirk seemed to have it in the third and early part of the fourth quarter. And now all of a sudden Steve Nash gets the final rebound of the game, showing once again it's not how big you are, it's how big you play.
Lisa Salters with the 2-time reigning MVP.
And thanks, Mike. Steve, first you got to take me through that. What was the defensive play of the game? How did you guys get the ball back on that play where you knocked it off Jason Terry?
You know, we just tried to overplay a little bit without taking too much of a gamble, and I happened to get my hand on it. It really wasn't a design play. I was just lucky to get a piece of it.
Now, we all know what we thought of watching the game. What was it like for you to actually play in a game like this?
Well, it's a lot of fun. You know, it's a great environment. You know, their fans are great, and, you know, it's a great rivalry. They're a notch ahead of us right now, and we're just trying to catch them.
Now, both teams were relentless. Both teams played great. What ultimately was the difference?
Well, I thought, you know, they really jumped on us in the third, and you know, they got a lot of offensive rebounds, and we kind of just battled harder after that. You know, I think they've beaten us because they've out-hustled us. I mean, we kind of took a stand there and hustled with them, and it gave us a chance to score and get back in the game.
And you were right. That third quarter, they outscored you 38-16. What was different in the in both of those overtime periods that turned in your favor?
Well, the fourth quarter, too. That's when we really got back in the game. Like I said, I think we just, you know, matched their energy and got some rebounds and hustled and just did the little things. You know, I think that's the big thing is they were down and they came out with abandon and really hustled and made a lot of offensive rebounds that gave them second chance points.
Thanks a lot and congratulations for the win. Mike?
Thank you, Lisa. In a game that Phoenix led by 16, then Dallas came on to lead by 15 after 3. Steve Nash led the Suns. He scored the last 10 in the fourth quarter to erase a 7-point deficit, send us to 2 overtimes. Nash had a great game. He scored 32. Amari Stoudemire 41, Nowitzki 28, Stackhouse 33 in the losing cause. Phoenix now within 3 in the loss column, chasing the Dallas Mavericks. With Lisa Salters, John Barry, Bill Walton, Mike Tirico, the madness has begun. Good night from Dallas, and off we go to SportsCenter.